India feels the pinch at the pump. Petrol and diesel prices hit new highs. CNG, PNG prices also rise sharply. And most of the high cost due to taxes. 147% tax on petrol, 113% tax on diesel. Government gives in to the Haryana farmers' demands on procurement. Punjab and Haryana to buy paddy from tomorrow, says the government amidst protests. Earlier in the day, water cannons fired on protesting farmers at Chief Minister Khattar's residence in Karnal. Prime Minister Modi attacks critics in an interview to the Open magazine, says those opposing the farm laws are guilty of Rajnitik Dhokadhadi, calls them intellectually dishonest. Ahead of the 13th round of talks with China next week on the Ladakh standoff, the army chief says there's been an increase in the deployment of Chinese troops, calls it a matter of concern. The feud between the Bihar politicians Chirag Paswan and his union minister uncle Pashupati Horas results in a freeze on the Lok Janshakti Party's name and symbol by the EC ahead of the by-elections in 2 seats in Bihar later this month. Mortal remains of 4 out of 5 missing naval mountaineers are retrieved. Search and rescue operations underway for the 5th naval climber and 1 Sherpa after an avalanche hits Mount Trishul. And India's shame on Gandhi Jayanti, a pro-Godse hashtag among the top trends on Twitter. The BJP's Varun Gandhi slams this section of Twitter, praising Nathuram Godse, who assassinated Mahatma Gandhi, says they must be named and shamed. Petrol and diesel prices touched record levels across India on Saturday after rates were hiked by 25 paise and 30 paise a litre respectively. The price of petrol was hiked to 101 rupees 89 paise a litre in Delhi and 107 rupees 95 paise per litre in Mumbai. That's not all. CNG, PNG prices also rose sharply. There's been a 62% hike in natural gas prices, and these skyrocketing fuel prices have hit the common man hardest.
Yet to get back to pre-COVID business, 40-year-old Manoj says the latest fuel hike has made running a cab impossible.
जो हम कमाते 700 रुपए या 1000 रुपए वो रह जाएंगे, 700 रुपए रह जाएंगे, 700 वाले 500 रह जाएंगे। मेरे 3 बच्चे हैं, एक बच्चा मेरा नीट में है, एक 12वीं में, एक 10th में, और जो उनका खर्चा है ना, एक प्राइवेट को छोड़ के अगर हम सरकारी में भी जा रहे हैं ना, तब भी हमें इतना खर्चा देना पड़ रहा है कि जो हम इस टैक्सी से नहीं कमा पा रहे।
This is the first meal and first break that Anil has had today.
आप मेरे से क्या 100 ड्राइवर से पूछो क्या हाल हो रहा है, काम नहीं है। 20 घंटे गाड़ी चलाओ, 1000 रुपए प्रॉफिट होता है, जिसमें 600 रुपए की तो गैस लग जाती है। अब 2 रुपए बढ़ाया, अब लग रहा 24 घंटे दिन रात चलानी पड़ेगी।
It's worse for those who drive rented vehicles.
8 घंटे की डिप्टी में सर क्या निकलेगा हमें बताइए। ये सरकार हमारी क्या करेंगे, पता नहीं क्या होगा नहीं होगा।
Government increases domestic natural gas prices by 62% on Friday. As a result, CNG prices went up from 45 rupees 20 paisa to 47 rupees 48 paisa in Delhi and 50 rupees 90 paisa to 53 rupees 45 paisa in Noida, Greater Noida and Ghaziabad. PNG prices went up from 30 rupees 91 paisa to 33 rupees 1 paisa in Delhi, 29 rupees 10 paisa to 31 rupees 20 paisa in Gurugram, and 30 rupees 86 paisa to 32 rupees 86 paisa in Noida, Greater Noida and Ghaziabad. Petrol and diesel prices were hiked for the third straight day. In Delhi, petrol costs 102 rupees 14 paisa and diesel costs 90 rupees 47 paisa. Delivery boy 23-year-old Raja Mandal has used his 5 years of saving to buy an e-bike.
धीरे धीरे सोचा, अभी जैसे लॉकडाउन हुआ था ना, उस समय सोचे बाइक लेने का। फिर बाइक में तो आए दिन तो पेट्रोल महंगा हो ही जा रहा है, तो इससे अच्छा तो या तो साइकिल चले या तो बैटरी वाला चले। बाइक सर, बाइक है तो बाइक तो तेज ही चलता है और बाइक का ऑर्डर भी थोड़ा अलग ही मिलता है।
While on one hand the economy is yet to recover from the losses of corona-induced lockdowns, on the other hand, constant increasing fuel prices are burdening the finances of a common man. The question is, what is the government doing to provide respite to this common man, the same common man who voted this government into power? With camera person Sanjay Kaushik, I'm Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
But what are we paying for? Take a look at these graphics that are going to play out on your screen now. More than half of the money paid by the consumer to purchase fuel goes towards some tax or the other. No. International oil prices are soaring to near 3-year highs as global output disruptions have forced energy companies to draw more crude oil out of their stockpiles, and India imports more than 80% of its oil supplies, and the price of crude oil in the international market does have a significant impact on domestic fuel prices. However, take a look at your screen. High taxes are also the major reason for this rise in fuel prices. You can see on your screen, when the international prices have gone down, the price that we are paying for fuel at our petrol pumps has gone up. So we're paying 147% tax on petrol and 113% tax on diesel. And now, after Punjab's speculation about a possible change of guard in the Congress-ruled Chhattisgarh has intensified over the last few days, today Chhattisgarh's Bhupesh Baghel was appointed as an observer for the UP elections. This at a time when 7 more MLAs have also arrived from Raipur, and 10 more are expected to reach the capital amid speculation of a change in leadership in the state. The Congress has also appointed 4 vice presidents and 3 general secretaries for Chhattisgarh, but the party is firefighting at the national level too.
A fresh worry for the Gandhis as they pay tributes on Gandhi Jayanti today. The G23 has raised a fresh rebellion against the Congress leadership over the crisis in Punjab and Chhattisgarh state units. They allege mismanagement by the Gandhi siblings led to the crisis. After the letter from Ghulam Nabi Azad to Congress President Sonia Gandhi, senior leader Kamal Nath met Sonia Gandhi on Friday evening. The former CM of Madhya Pradesh has been negotiating between the Congress leadership and G23.
कांग्रेस का विघटन जो हो रहा है वो बड़ा गहरी चिंता का विषय है. कांग्रेस को मंथन करना चाहिए, देश के हित में नहीं.
Even after the 3-hour-long meeting between Navjot Singh Sidhu and Punjab CM Charanjit Channi on Thursday, the issues in Punjab Congress are far from over. While there is no official announcement over whether Sidhu has taken back his resignation as the president of the state unit, his tweets has raised more questions. As far as Chhattisgarh is concerned, over a dozen Congress MLAs are camping in Delhi to meet the Congress central leadership, but it is not clear why. Though State Health Minister T.S. Singhdeo continues asking for his share of the rotational chief ministership.
अभी तक 35 समथिंग हमारे लोग सभी शाम तक होंगे, बाकी कल तक और लोग आएंगे, और आने के बाद हम सब लोग जो भी बातें आएगा आपके सामने बात प्रभारी से फिर मिलेंगे और प्रभारी से भी मिलेंगे और अपने हाई कमान से भी मिलेंगे. सारी बातें कि भूपेश बघेल जी को इस्तीफा देकर टी.एस. सिंहदेव जी को सीएम की गद्दी पे बैठाया जा रहा है, कहीं से ऐसी कोई बातें नहीं है.
But on the same day, Baghel was appointed senior observer of the party for the upcoming elections in Uttar Pradesh. Baghel played a key role in the recent Assam Assembly elections for the party.
मैं सोनिया जी, राहुल जी, प्रियंका जी के प्रति आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ. जिम्मेदारी देकर 2.5 साल का फार्मूला तो नहीं लगा देंगे सर. अरे कहाँ आ गए आप?
With the fresh rebellion from G23, the Congress party is planning to convene CWC meet soon to discuss the issues raised by the rebel group. While the old guard is upping the ante and demanding immediate party polls, sources close to the leadership say, as planned, the party polls will be held after the completion of 5 states assembly elections early next year. With Anurag Dwari and camera person Musselin, this is Arvind Gunasekar for NDTV.
And paddy and millet procurement in Haryana and Punjab will begin from Sunday in the interest of the farmers. That is what the Union Minister of State for Food said on Saturday afternoon after a meeting in Delhi with the Haryana Chief Minister and his deputy Dushyant Chautala. This at the end of a long day of protests where water cannons were even used briefly on over 1,000 farmers who were shouting slogans and waving flags in protest against the controversial farm laws. All of this outside the Haryana Chief Minister ML Khattar's Karnal residence. They were also protesting the centre's decision to postpone paddy procurement from the 1st of October to the 11th in Punjab and Haryana on the grounds that heavy rainfall in these two states has delayed the maturity of paddy and left the moisture content in fresh arrivals beyond permissible limits.
देखिए, हरियाणा सरकार ने मुख्य रूप से हरियाणा के माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी यहाँ आए हुए हैं, उप मुख्यमंत्री जी हैं, सभी सांसद और माननीय विधायकगण भी हैं साथ में। तो जो सरकार ने निर्णय लिया है, अभी हरियाणा का प्रतिनिधिमंडल आया था और हरियाणा का चिन्ह भी था कि कल से प्रोक्योरमेंट का हम लोगों ने पूरी तैयारी वहाँ रखा है, पहले से भी हमारी तैयारी थी और वहाँ पर पूरा सब लोगों की खरीदगी कल से शुरू हो जाएगी। आप जानते हैं कि आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का किसानों के प्रति जो सब प्रकार से किसानों को कोई दिक्कत ना हो, ये बराबर उनका मार्गदर्शन रहता है और हम लोगों ने वैसी व्यवस्था खड़ी की है।
हमने केंद्रीय मंत्रालय से हमारे अश्विनी चौबे जी से आकर के निवेदन किया कि इसको जल्दी से शुरू किया जाए। तो अभी बैठ करके एक निर्णय ये हुआ है कि कल से विधिवत 3 तारीख से 3 अक्टूबर से और ये प्रोक्योरमेंट जो है वो सब जगह शुरू हो जाएगी। इतना ही विषय आज की जानकारी के लिए देना था। तो इससे मैं समझता हूँ कि जो हमारी किसानों की तकलीफ स्वाभाविक है कि जो जिन्होंने अपनी धान काट ली है मंडियों में ले आए हैं तो उनकी प्रोक्योरमेंट जल्दी होनी चाहिए। तो इसलिए उसका निर्णय एक ठीक अच्छा निर्णय हो गया है कि कल 3 तारीख को और इसकी प्रोक्योरमेंट शुरू हो जाएगी।
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi in an interview to Open Magazine said that those opposing the farm laws are guilty of Rajnitik Dokhadari, that those who oppose farmer reforms are intellectually dishonest. And BJP leader Varun Gandhi paid tribute to the father of the nation, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, on his 152nd birth anniversary. He also slammed a counter trend being popularized by a section of Twitter praising Nathuram Godse, who assassinated the Mahatma. A pro-Godse hashtag was among the top trends on Twitter on Saturday. Globally, Gandhi's birth anniversary is celebrated as the International Day of Non-Violence. Several events are held in India and across the world to mark the occasion. Back home, Prime Minister Modi led the nation in paying tributes to Mahatma Gandhi. He paid floral tributes to the father of the nation at Rajghat. And this section of Twitter made all of India hang its head in shame. And a 25-year-old man from an OBC community was allegedly burnt to death by the upper caste family members of a woman that he was in love with at a village in Sagar in Madhya Pradesh, and just ahead of the by-polls due to the Prithvipur seat where upper caste communities and OBCs both have a sizable vote. This has landed the MP government in a spot, and it has prompted the Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan to order a CBI probe.
छोटे से एक मामले को जो एक तरफा प्यार का मामला था उसको एक जातिगत रूप में बनाया गया। भूपेंद्र सिंह के द्वारा उसी दिन जाकर उनसे कहा गया कि उनका घर तोड़ा जाएगा।
घर गिराने का कहा प्रावधान है। ये जो अन्याय प्रशासन के द्वारा किया जा रहा है, ये जाति की जो राजनीति की जा रही है, इनकी हरकतों से लाइन ऑर्डर बिगड़ जाएगा इस देश में।
2 weeks after a man was burned to death, the BJP government in Madhya Pradesh has found itself trying not to get singed by the flames of caste politics ahead of by-polls due later this month. 13 days after the incident, the Chief Minister recommended a CBI inquiry into the incident where action was already initiated by demolishing the house of the accused.
उनका इलाज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने शासन के वैन पे करवाया है और उनको प्राइवेट चिकित्सालय में शिफ्ट कर दिया गया है। माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने निर्देशित किया है कि घटना की सीबीआई जांच की जाएगी और उसके अनुरूप जो तथ्य सामने निकल करके आएंगे और उसके बाद कार्रवाई उसके अनुसार की जाएगी।
कहीं न कहीं यूपी की नकल की जा रही कि लोगों के मकान तोड़ दिए जा रहे हैं। अरे अपराधियों के आप मकान तोड़ें, इल्लीगल जो बने मकान तोड़ें, लेकिन यदि एक व्यक्ति कोई गलती करता है जिसका आपराधिक रिकॉर्ड नहीं है तो जिस प्रकार से उसके मकान तोड़े जा रहे हैं ये तो निश्चित तौर पर उस परिवार के साथ कुठारा खाते।
On September 17th, a Brahmin family had allegedly burnt to death Rahul Yadav in Semra Leharia village in Sagar district. 4 people accused of committing the crime, including the girl's father, were arrested and sent to jail. The girl, who also sustained 60% burn injuries, claimed the boy tried to set her ablaze. The boy said the family members poured petrol.
तेल फेंक दो और हमने सीख लगा दी। हमने सब घर वालों को चिल्लाओ, पापा हरे हमारे सब सो रहे थे, सब उठ के आए। जब तक हमने हाथ से हमारी आगी मांगी तो बचा लाई, जो लोगों ने भागला और खुद में आगी लगा के।
कहाँ लगाया था हमने? कैसे आग लगाई? मान के क्या डाला उसमें? पेट्रोल। पेट्रोल।
After the incident, Bhupendra Singh, a senior minister and MLA from Sagar, had supported the demand of the villagers to demolish the house, a practice started by the government against crimes of heinous nature. He also visited the village and announced 1 lakh rupees compensation to the family of Rahul and said that he would recommend a government job for a family member after the protest from the OBC community.
को बोला है सर कि आप इसका मकान तोड़ने की कार्रवाई करें, इन लोगों की मांगे जो है बिल्कुल न्यायोचित।
Following this, the Brahmin community was up in arms against the BJP government in the state.
Both the communities are strong and influential. They also have the support of powerful Brahmin and OBC leaders, including few ministers in the state. And soon after, the Brahmin community announced that they will mobilize 1 lakh people. CBI inquiry was ordered. In Bhopal, with camera person Rizwan Khan and Rakesh Anuragdwari for NDTV.
Now let's get you up to date with other news from around the country. First and foremost, the mortal remains of 4 out of 5 missing naval mountaineers were retrieved on Saturday, but search and rescue operations are still underway for the 5th naval climber and 1 Sherpa after an avalanche hit Mount Trishul. And now let's go on to Assam, where the state is using Poshan on Wheels, a nationwide central government program to evaluate the malnutrition levels of children and also identify those most vulnerable to COVID should a third wave strike. The focus is on the most vulnerable T tribe community, already know on nourishment and immunity. And NDTV Sanjay Chakravarti travelled to the T belt of Tinsukia to find out more about this Poshan Month reach out.
The pink bus of hope, bringing Poshan on nutrition on the wheels. To children in the tea gardens of Upper Assam, malnutrition of children in the tea gardens is a big concern in the state, especially among those less than 5 years old, whose low immunity makes them doubly vulnerable to COVID.
और थर्ड वेव अगर आता है तो ये भी कहा जा रहा है कि इसके असर खास करके छोटे बच्चे के ऊपर पड़ेगा, तो इसलिए ज़रूर सरकार इसका बारे में ठोस कदम उठाने होगा ताकि छोटे बच्चे का अगर न्यूट्रिशन पावर नहीं होगा तो ये बहुत क्षतिदायक होगा।
Assam has 33 lakh children. 9.1% or 1 out of 10 children under the age of 5 are suffering from severe acute malnutrition or SAM. 32.8% or 3 out of 10 of those children are underweight. 65.9% or at least 6 out of 10 women between ages 15 to 49 suffer from anemia.
तो हम लोग माने सुबह वो लोग को खिला पिला के आता है, लड़का बच्चा को छोड़ के दिन भर बागान में रहता है, पात तोड़ता है, तो हम लोग का लड़का बच्चा को माने देखने वाला ऐसे कोई नहीं है, सुविधा भी नहीं मिलता है, लड़का बच्चा खाता नहीं खाता है, हम लोग को तो कुछ मालूम नहीं पड़ता है, फिर 4 बजे हम घर जाता है तो उसी में हम लोग का लड़का बच्चा कमजोर पड़ जाता है।
The vaccination status in Assam's 800 tea gardens is additional cause of concern. Of 10 lakh workers, only 55,000 have got both the doses. 6.5 lakh just one. Non-vaccinated minors with low immunity in the tea gardens have high exposure to the virus. So the Poshan Ma drives spotlight on them.
We are basically found that all the children, basically 80%, 90% children are suffering from malnutrition, identified as SAM babies. We are referred to the Nutrition Rehabilitation Center of Tinsukia Civil Hospital.
कि आप लोग अच्छा से हेल्थ हाइजीन मेंटेन कीजिए, अच्छे से साफ रहिए, साफ सुथरा रहिए, अच्छा से खाइए, जो घर में मौजूद हो, आसपास घर में जो मौजूद है, जो ग्रीन वेजिटेबल है, हरा सब्जी हो, जो पास में मिलने वाला वो सब खाइए.
The Poshan on Wheels drive was first launched in 2018. In its fourth year, Assam has reinvented it to deploy its findings on the malnourishment against the COVID as well. With cameraperson Sanjay Chakravarti in Tinsukia, in Guwahati, Ratndeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
And on Gandhi Jayanti, 500 animal poachers surrendered their arms in Assam's borderland, taking a pledge to never kill an animal again. Some 500 poachers, woodcutters surrendered their weapons in this borderland territory region of the BTR. Responding to the BTR Forest Department's call, they surrendered, and the BTR that administers the 4 districts in the region also gave financial aid to the poachers in the hope that they can give up poaching and take up alternate vocations.